better next. The consequences of reckless driving on a busy GTA highway, sending a message about speeding.
This was completely preventable. He just didn't need to drive like that.
Tonight, a serious crash caught on camera. The driver headed to jail. Good evening. Tens of thousands of drivers use the Gardiner Expressway every day, many vehicles traveling at high rates of speed.
CTV News has obtained video of the crash. Police say it could have been deadly. It resulted in a ruling from a Toronto judge that could signal a lower tolerance for dangerous driving. CTV's John Woodward joins us live with the details. John.
Nathan, the video shows that it is all over in seconds. 2 people seriously injured, and now that driver facing 9 months behind bars. A car's camera captured what happened along Toronto's Gardiner Expressway in January 2022. Watch that dark-colored BMW, and as he weaves in and out of traffic, he makes a crucial mistake. He clips a taxi, sending it flying. The driver and the passenger injured, the driver's left hand still damaged, and the passenger lost sight in one eye.
This was completely preventable. He just didn't need to drive like that.
The driver, Jersey Bogash, pleaded guilty to 1 count of dangerous driving causing bodily harm. He told the court he wasn't trying to hurt anybody, saying, "I accept responsibility for a foolish error I had made, and at the time did not factor in that the speed I was driving would constitute such a public hazard. I simply thought that I would be able to speed home to resolve an issue that was pressing." That pressing issue, a family member with a drinking problem, an excuse Justice Apple Newton-Smith did not accept. She said, "I am told that he was rushing home to deal with a family crisis. If the situation in his home required urgent and immediate intervention, the appropriate response would be to call 911. I do not consider putting the lives of innocent people at risk for the sake of trying to get home quickly to be a mitigating factor." In the end, Bogash was sentenced to 9 months in prison, and he's prohibited from driving for 5 years. A sentence on the tougher end, says road safety activist Jess Speaker.
This is one of the stricter penalties I've seen recently. There was a penalty last week where a driver convicted of dangerous driving causing death only got a house arrest sentence.
Speakers calling for dangerous drivers to be ordered to do training and community service to directly warn young drivers about the behavior that leads to this. The judge said that video shows such obviously dangerous driving that it's lucky no one was killed. Now, we did reach out to Bercy's lawyer. He said he's disappointed with the ruling and isn't ruling out an appeal. Reporting live in Toronto, I'm John Woodward. Back to you.
Thank you, John. And still to come tonight, preparing for planned protests this weekend. Toronto police with a warning to demonstrators that hate speech will not be tolerated, and if laws are broken, arrests will be made.
But first, let's take a live look outside. What a way to end the work week. Above average temperatures today. How long will it last? We sent Lindsay Morrison out on remote this Friday. She joins us from Pumpkinville and Nights of Lights at the Scarborough Town Centre. Lindsay.
Yeah, Nathan, happy Halloween weekend. That's what we like to call the weekend before Halloween, where so many families are likely to be checking out pumpkin patches or haunted houses. We're at kind of a cool event here. So you're right, this is Pumpkinville. It's a part of a celebration here at Scarborough Town Centre in the parking lot. Pumpkinville is great for families. There's so many photo ops. You'll notice that around here we have a lot of pumpkin sculptures that are on display. There's a midway, there are food trucks, and while the sun hasn't quite set yet, you're going to notice something pretty special when it does. There's an immersive walk-through light exhibit, and we're going to be checking that out a little bit later here on the show. But let's talk about this weather. My goodness, it has been a warm day. Here's a look at the current temperatures. It looks as though we made it to a daytime high today of 23 here in Toronto. That means that we tied or broke the record. It's still unofficial at this point, but we're going to be watching it. Winds are coming out of the southwest right now. We're going to see those winds change direction into the night tonight. See those showers off to the northwest? Those could move in overnight tonight. We'll eventually drop to a low of about 12 degrees, and then the temperature takes a tumble from there. So we're going to take you through the weekend forecast. Plus, we have a look at what's in store for Halloween. That's coming up here on CTV News at 6. But for now, Nathan and Michelle, I'll send it back inside to you.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. Toronto police say they're preparing to respond to multiple demonstrations in the city this weekend.
The protests in response to the Israel-Hamas war, authorities vowing to continue to make their presence known in neighborhoods and not tolerate any acts of hate. CTV's Beth McDonnell is live at police headquarters tonight with those details. Beth.
Michelle, police will very much be on alert this weekend. It comes as we're learning the details of a hate-motivated investigation. Police allege on Wednesday a female victim was in front of her residence downtown when a woman was removing posters in support of Israel. Police say the woman asked the victim if she was Jewish and assaulted her. Police arrived and arrested the woman. These are tense times. Around the GTA, emotions are high since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. And this weekend, Toronto police won't be taking any chances.
We want to be very clear. We will not tolerate any intimidation, any harassment, or any hate-motivated behavior aimed at specific communities in our city.
There's been concern about an online post circulating referencing a pro-Hamas group driving through Jewish neighborhoods. Police say they've been in touch with organizers of an event traveling from Durham to Toronto, which has made it clear it's not in support of Hamas. Police say they also understand the event will not go through neighborhoods. Still, overall, police are expecting a busy weekend of both pro-Israeli and pro-Palestinian demonstrations, with the majority of them in the downtown core. They say regular officers will be visible, along with members from the hate crime unit who will be on the ground ready to gather evidence and investigate.
We have heard the public's concern about hate speech and about messages at demonstrations and in our neighborhoods as well. Anyone whose behavior crosses the line from lawful demonstration to criminality can expect it to be arrested.
Police say hate crimes are underreported. Since October 7th, the start of the war, they're investigating 20 incidents, 15 anti-Semitic and 5 Islamophobic, with attacks against both groups up from last year. The aim this weekend, to minimize disruptions and ensure public safety. Police say there are no known threats to the city of Toronto. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Nathan, back to you.
All right, thank you, Beth. A threat made against the Mississauga doctor is being investigated as a hate crime. Trillium Health Partners say an anti-Semitic death threat was made against a physician who identifies as Jewish. Peel police say it happened at a workplace outside the hospital. Trillium says it immediately increased security in response to the threat. A popular Toronto restaurant owner is being remembered tonight.
Merrick Owen Aries was found shot to death on a beach in Jamaica. CTV's Janice Golding joins us live from outside his restaurant at Yonge and Isabella. Janice.
Hi, Michelle. Yes, friends and co-workers are mourning the loss right now of a GTA businessman who was viciously murdered overseas this week. He operated this restaurant behind us here, a very popular Jamaican eatery, since 2016.
His name still graces the wall of his restaurant, but Merrick Owen Aries will never walk through its doors again. Brutally slain in Jamaica, his body discovered Tuesday morning.
I'm still in shock. I still don't believe the news, but I'm deeply saddened.
Staff and friends who dropped by the diner's corner at Yonge and Isabella expressed their initial reactions to the news, saying Aries was in Jamaica for his sister's funeral when, shockingly, he lost his own life.
I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I was at Union Station, and all the people were saying, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? And I couldn't answer them. I just slept on, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. All my train missed me because I was so nervous. I was shaky. My foot was weak. I couldn't believe it.
Close friend Neil Armstrong says he last heard from Aries on Saturday and had texted him on Monday.
And I didn't get a reply, and usually he's pretty good at replying. And so on hearing on Tuesday that his body was found in bushes, I was shocked. I was tearful.
Armstrong says his friend was only 43 years old. He'd come to Canada in 2000, bought the restaurant in 2016, a food truck 5 years later, and had many plans for the future.
As most young Jamaicans do, he came to see what he could build of his life in the industry that he was in. We chatted so many times about the challenges and the high points.
But Aries' dreams would not be realized. His body was found on the Welcome Beach in Clarendon, Jamaica at 9:45 a.m. Tuesday. According to local police, a passerby stumbled upon him lying on the shoreline with gunshot wounds. His death, a devastating blow to those who cared for Aries, who have created a memorial for the popular restaurateur, friends and customers signing a book of condolence and reminiscing.
He always told me I should smile. His cooking is amazing, his desserts, everything that he's created in terms of the restaurants, the food. It's all him, all his ideas that he brought to life.
Those who knew Aries best saying they're trying not to fixate on the way he died.
I want to remember him as someone who loved and was loved and shared love.
Choosing instead to remember the way Aries lived.
Now, Armstrong says there will be a community vigil in Aries' memory here at the restaurant next week, Wednesday, between 6 and 9 p.m. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Michelle.
Thank you, Janice. And still ahead, new developments from the Middle East. A barrage of airstrikes as Israel ramps up ground operations in Gaza, and fears grow for those caught in the bloody conflict.
In Maine, an intense manhunt continues tonight for the man accused of fatally shooting 18 people.
Authorities were asked a short time ago if there has been a credible sighting of the suspect in the past 2 days.
We have, again, 530 plus tips and leads that have come in. Some of those have been sightings. Some of those have been, and I would say as simple as, but hey, I've got a vacant house that's in this location. I own a barn that I'm afraid to go to. There's something over here that concerns me. So those things run the gamut.
Officials say law enforcement has not seen the suspect. They are scouring hundreds of acres of property and searching the bottom of a river as schools and businesses remain closed today in Lewiston. CTV's Genevieve Beauchemin reports.
Hundreds of heavily armed police are patrolling communities in southern Maine as the massive search for the suspect in Wednesday's mass shooting continues more than 40 hours later.
Every minute that this goes on, we're more and more concerned, because what's the next thing that's going to happen? And we understand that. And that's why we're working 24/7.
A community grieving after a gunman opened fire Wednesday at a bowling alley and a bar, killing at least 18 people and injuring at least a dozen others, including Jennifer Zenka.
I got hit, I think, when I went to the ground, and then I stood up and followed one of the other girls. She knew how to get out the back way.
Police are looking for 40-year-old Robert Card, an Army reservist, and their main suspect. Card's car was found at a small boat launch not far from the crime scenes. That river is now being searched by divers with the help of helicopters overhead.
I will ask the community to be as patient as possible with this process, realizing that there are many, many moving parts and coordination of efforts involved between multiple agencies.
At around 11:30 this morning, dozens of police officers converged on this area here outside Lewiston, en route to Lisbon, where the suspect's car was found. This was at a rural property with several greenhouses on it. A major police search based on one of hundreds of tips police have so far received.
The helicopter was flying right above us. So as soon as the police came in, they just came to us and said, "Did you hear a gunshot?" Yes. And what was the direction? So we showed them, and that was it.
But despite reports of a gunshot in the woods, police didn't find anything or anyone. A frustration for Lewiston residents who are on edge with a shooter on the loose. This as they try to grieve the loss of their friends and family.
It's very hard to grieve. Everyone's keeping to themselves mostly right now. I think a lot of people are still in shock what happened. It's going to take time to heal.
And Genevieve joins us now from Lewiston. Genevieve, it's nightfall there following another day of that shelter-in-place order, but it has just been rescinded. Where does the manhunt stand at this hour?
Activity behind me, Michelle, that order has indeed been rescinded after those 2 days, this town being eerily quiet at times, with the businesses all closed, doctors' offices, schools, all sorts of businesses and homes shut down for the days that followed the shooting. And so now the activity has picked up again, but police are saying that it is still very dangerous here, and they're telling people to be very careful as they go about their business now. The search is continuing. There is still a lot of ground to cover. They did focus on that river we talked about earlier. We're not getting any information as to whether they found anything at all. They're continuing their search. They're hoping that they're able to pick up any clue, any trace of the suspect, but that is still continuing, and officers are saying that that's going to be happening 24/7. So as night falls, that search continues. The search as well at the two crime scenes also continues. They say they're going over those crime scenes inch by inch to see if they can pick up anything that might lead them to the suspect, but also to provide answers to this community.
In the meantime, survivors have been sharing their harrowing stories, and authorities revealing the names of all the victims. What more can you tell us about that?
All the victims, yes, indeed, Michelle, aged 14 to 76, so quite a wide range there, and people sharing the fact that they were trying to escape that. And we did learn a little bit more about what was happening in the bowling alley that is behind me here. We were told by police officers tonight that after the first 911 call came in, officers rushed to the scene, that there were two plainclothes officers who were at a shooting range nearby that rushed to the scene, and they were here a minute and a half after that first call. But it was already too late. 7 people had been killed here, and their names have now been released. Their identities have been released. And to see those pictures at the news conference today was simply heartbreaking, as police read off every single one of those 18 names and had a moment of silence in honor of the victims.
It really is overwhelming, this tragedy. And there are many people who are injured, and we heard that hospitals were overwhelmed. Any update on the injured?
We know that there's still 3 people who were critically injured. Their condition has not changed. There are others who have been released from hospital, so there has been some glimmer of hope from people who were taken to hospital that night, but the conditions are still very serious. And people who are speaking about what happened within the bowling alley and at the bar and grill say that it really was devastating to try to cope with the injuries in the aftermath, just simply in those buildings, and then transporting those people to the 2 hospitals here where people were called in. People who were off had to be called in to deal with the patients that were coming in, and those injuries in some cases are still very, very serious, very critical.
CTV's Genevieve Beauchemin live for us tonight in Lewiston, Maine. Thank you. To the Middle East now, where the Israeli military says its ground forces will expand their activities in the Gaza Strip tonight.
Internet and cell phone service is no longer available in the Palestinian territory following a heavy round of airstrikes on another destructive day of fighting. CTV National News correspondent Adrian Gobriel reports.
A ball of fire marks the spot of a rocket attack in Tel Aviv today. On the ground, first responders rushed to the scene as smoke billows from the building at the center of the blast. This comes after a second straight night of what Israel's defense force is calling targeted raids inside Gaza, as tanks zero in on Hamas missile sites, military command, and control centers. Yet rising from the debris and destruction are remarkable acts of humanity on both sides of this conflict.
He was a very kind soul, and he had very good manners. Canadian manners.
21-year-old Canadian Netta Epstein was at home with his fiancée Iren Shavit in the Kfar Aza kibbutz when Hamas militants broke into their apartment on October 7th.
They opened our safe room. They throw a grenade, 2 grenades.
A third grenade was headed directly towards Shavit. That's when her fiancé made a decision to sacrifice himself and use his body as a shield to save the woman he planned to marry.
I saw him dying. I saw him bleeding to death and just lying there.
Meanwhile, inside Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital, Precious lives hang in a precarious balance. This is where Dr. Ihab Badir is volunteering, risking his life to give those whose lives have barely begun a fighting chance. It's a sacrifice not lost on his closest friends.
And he has decided that he is going to make the trek, the dangerous trek to the hospital there every day.
Badir is one of more than 2 million people unable to leave Gaza. He traveled there in late September to tend to his ailing parents. For Badir's wife, Rana, reaching her husband over the phone is a daily challenge.
It's just calming to hear his voice, that he is alive.
Are you concerned you could lose your friend in this war? Absolutely. He has decided that if he is able to support and help save a life in the hospital, that is what he must do.
According to Dr. Badir, they began rationing electricity inside Al-Shifa Hospital to keep the ventilators going in the NIC unit and the ICU. They've had to cut power in other wards. A dire situation, growing more desperate by the hour. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
And Adrian will have more on those incredible acts of courage and self-sacrifice on tonight's edition of W5 at 10 o'clock, right here on CTV. After taking the stand in his own defense, former fashion mogul Peter Nygaard is set to be cross-examined next week.
Once the head of an international women's clothing company, he's accused of using his position to sexually assault women and girls. And we want to warn you, details of the case are graphic. CTV's John Musselman has the latest from the trial.
Peter Nygaard continued to deny the allegations against him during his third day on the witness stand under questioning by his defense lawyer Brian Greenspan. The 82-year-old told the court he did not recognize one of the complainants when she came to court to testify. He also says he didn't recall giving her a tour of his fashion headquarters at 1 Niagara Street or inviting her up to his private retreat. Greenspan, did you chase her around the apartment and take off her clothing? Nygaard, no, that's not something I would ever do. Greenspan, did you have sex with her after chasing her around the room and removing her clothing? Nygaard, no, I would not do that. One of the complainants earlier testified that Nygaard took her to a Rolling Stones concert in December 1989. Asked about that today, Nygaard told the jury he did not recall attending the concert. He went even further, saying he does not remember ever attending any event at the Sky Dome, now known as the Rogers Centre. He was also asked about a group sex party allegedly held at his Niagara Street complex. A complainant testified she was assaulted there. Nygaard says it never happened. Greenspan, do you recall inviting 10 people up to the Finland room? Nygaard, no such event ever took place. Greenspan, the complainant says she woke up naked with you on top of her on the bed with people watching. Did that happen? Nygaard, that absolutely never occurred. Greenspan, did you invite her to the Bahamas and offer her $5,000 in cash? Nygaard, that did not happen. Nygaard has pleaded not guilty to 5 counts of sexual assault and 1 count of forcible confinement. The alleged incidents took place in the 1980s right up to 2005. The complainants all allege he lured them to his headquarters and then sexually assaulted them. Nygaard concluded his defense testimony today saying, quote, the type of allegations that were said and described here is the type of conduct that I would never have done and I would never do. Nygaard made the decision to testify in his own defense. Next week, he will be cross-examined by the Crown on the specific allegations brought against him by the 5 complainants. John Musselman, CTV News.
The Trudeau government is taking steps to protect international students from fraud.
The investigation identified nearly 1,550 study permits applications initially connected to fraudulent letters. In most of those cases, the fraud was detected and the application was refused. In approximately 450 of the remaining cases, fraud wasn't identified during the processing and study permits were issued. In some cases, people have shown up at the doorsteps of institutions to find out that their hope has been dashed.
Colleges and universities that issue acceptance letters will have to confirm them with the Federal Immigration Department. The new requirement kicks in December 1st. A scheme dating back to 2017 saw immigration agents issue fake letters to get international students into Canada.
He's the first elected Democrat to challenge Joe Biden for the 2024 presidential nomination.
I do so not in opposition to President Biden, who has my affection and my gratitude, rather with 2 core convictions. that I am the Democratic candidate who can win the 2024 election.
Dean Phillips says it's time for the torch to be passed to a new generation of leaders. The Minnesota representative formally entered the race today in New Hampshire.
Here at home, you're going to start seeing a lot of people wearing poppies. The Royal Canadian Legion National Poppy Campaign began today. There will be thousands of donation boxes across the country. Digital poppies are also available online. Donated funds support veterans and their families, and whatever is given locally stays local. The Legion says close to $20 million is donated each year. Coming up, several transit disruptions that might stir up trouble for you this weekend, but it's not all tricks. The TTC has a spooky treat that awaits you underground in a decommissioned station.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, weighted blankets have been popular with adults and they're supposed to help you sleep better, but now there are weighted sleep products for babies and there is a concern they could be a serious health hazard. I'll have my reports. That's just ahead.
We are at Night of Lights in Pumpkinville. Kumar, what is this event all about?
So this is an event that was created to give you that awesome family experience for Halloween. We have various events like axe throwing, pumpkin smashing. We have various rides for the kids' family. Also food trucks where you can come enjoy a meal. You can share the experience with your family, and we also have pet-friendly days that you can always come to enjoy. And the most exciting part of this event is the light show that you guys will see pretty much soon.
Oh yeah, we're going to go check that out in just a moment. What a great evening to be out here. Your weekend forecast looks decent. Tomorrow, we're going to see the temperature start to take a little bit of a tumble. By Sunday, we'll be feeling it, and we do have potential for wet weather in store. We want to see how you are celebrating Halloween. Send us your photos on social media. You just might see them end up here on CTV News. A full look at your Halloween forecast is coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
Weighted blankets for adults have become popular over the past few years. They're supposed to help you have a deeper sleep and wake up feeling rested.
Some companies are now making weighted sleep products for babies, but there's a concern they could be unsafe. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Nathan and Michelle, sometimes it's difficult to get a baby to go to sleep, so some parents are trying weighted blankets or other weighted sleep products. Even though these items are currently for sale, health professionals say they're dangerous and you shouldn't use them. Weighted blankets are a popular trend for adults, but weighted baby blankets, swaddles, and sleep sacks are not recommended for babies. Health Canada warns, stay away from weighted swaddles, sleep sacks, and blankets as they are not safe for your baby.
One of the risks is suffocation. So the babies can actually get trapped under the weight of the blankets and not be able to breathe.
A baby's body is also inherently different from an adult's, and putting any weight on their chest is problematic.
The weight on their chest, rib cage, and abdomen can limit the ability for them to move their muscles required for breathing, and this can lead to asphyxiation.
Two main manufacturers of weighted sleep products for babies, Nested Bean and Dreamland Baby, both told Consumer Reports a lack of reported injuries related to their products show that they are safe. But the Consumer Product Safety Commission said there is at least one infant death involving a weighted product.
Parents will be even more trusting of products that they see for sale if they have a label that says, this meets industry standards, maybe not realizing that those standards are largely written by the companies that are making and selling those products.
Leaving new parents like Linda Ramirez, who are looking for anything to help their infant sleep, in the dark.
It's so scary that they're marketed as safe when doctors are against it.
Doctors recommend that babies should only sleep alone on their back on a firm, flat surface and with nothing else around them. And the weighted baby products are popular. More than 3 million of them have been sold in North America. But Consumer Reports and Health Canada say if you have them for your baby, you should stop using them. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, this is the big weekend before Halloween, which is on Tuesday. So, you know, a lot of Halloween stuff's going to happen this weekend. And it's so nice tonight if you have any plans. It's gorgeous out.
Yeah, this would be perfect if you were out trick-or-treating today, but things are going to change, Lindsay.
Wouldn't this have been perfect if tonight was Halloween? Now that you say that, Nathan, man, I wish that was the case. It's going to feel a little different on Halloween night, but that's okay. We're still going to make the most of it. I want to show you what's behind me here. So this is the entrance to the immersive walkthrough here at Night of Lights. It's very cool. There's a great party atmosphere here, and the gates are about to open to this because the sun is also about to set. I want to introduce you to Mackenzie Muldoon. You are with Epilepsy Toronto. Tell me a little bit about your connection to this event.
Well, this incredible event actually supports the services we provide for people living with epilepsy in our community. They give a portion of the proceeds from both Pumpkinville and Night of Lights goes to supporting us and allows us to give services such as support groups and counseling, education, employment. We have life skills programs, we have recreation programs, basically everything we can do to help people living with epilepsy and their families live fuller, more independent lives.
It's really important work that you do, and I know that you were able to check out this event yourself. What'd you think?
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. I can't tell you what a big hit the pumpkin smash it was.
Okay, the pumpkin smash, I'll have to check that out. We're going to check out more of these lights, again, as night falls here, but we also have to talk a little bit about your weather forecast. Again, it's an important weekend, and then, of course, leading into Halloween. We'll begin by letting you know that weather is brought to you by Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train. So let's begin talking about just how mild it has been today. It looks as though at the very least we have tied the daily temperature record for today. What we had to beat was 22.7 degrees. It's unofficial at the moment, but we'll see what happens. Usually Environment Canada makes these things more official as we head into the day tomorrow. But that gives you an idea there of what the record was. How warm it got in Windsor, 24 degrees today, and our seasonal average is about 11. We're going to be warmer than that again overnight tonight. 12 is our forecast low, and it's really going to take us a while to get there. We're going to be quite mild through the overnight. Tomorrow is one of those days where the temperature is going to fall through the day as opposed to rise, but we are expecting some sunshine in the afternoon, so that's something to look forward to. Get outside, enjoy the pumpkin patches, enjoy the fall leaves, and enjoy events like this. Now, we do have a cold front off to our northwest. As you can see, that's already bringing showers to the northern part of Lake Huron as well as Georgian Bay. That cold front slices through tonight. It could bring us a few showers, maybe even a thunder shower, but it's also going to trigger our cool down. More on that in just a moment. Waking up tomorrow morning might still be a few showers, especially around the Niagara Peninsula. Then into tomorrow afternoon, some clearing happens. It's looking decent. Still comfortable temperature-wise. Early Sunday morning, just a heads up that this is our best opportunity for wet weather at this point. The rest of the day could be dry until we make our way into the nighttime hours, and then Monday itself is a bit unsettled. I'm happy to share that your Halloween Tuesday at this point is looking dry. We should have mainly sunny skies during the day, but it is going to be chilly. Look at these daytime highs all of a sudden in the single digits, and then look at the overnight lows around the freezing mark or maybe even slightly below. Wednesday morning, I'm even eyeing the potential for a few wet flurries in the snowbelt areas, but also potentially here in Toronto. So that's a look at your weather. The $1.2 million bonus prize deadline in the Princess Margaret Home Lottery is midnight tonight. Imagine winning a stunning downtown Toronto condo with breathtaking views of Lake Ontario. Plus, you get $50,000 cash. There are over 20,000 exciting prizes to win, valued at more than $19 million, including the $8.3 million grand prize, featuring an incredible show home in Oakville, an all-electric BMW, plus $500,000 in cash, a stunning $2.3 million Niagara-on-the-Lake grand prize with a show home and $100,000 cash, a charming $2.2 million grand prize with a show home in Georgian Bay and $100,000 cash, and the much-loved, world-famous $2.6 million early bird prize, plus exciting electric vehicles, exotic vacations, and more. You can also win big cash prizes with the 50/50 and Cash Calendar add-ons. Every ticket gives you the chance to win life-changing prizes and help fund life-saving cancer research at the Princess Margaret. So get your tickets today at princessmargaretlotto.com or by calling 1-866-631-1234. We're going to have more from Night of Lights in Pumpkinville coming up. For now, though, Nathan and Michelle, back inside to you.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. It's being called the last Beatles song, and it will be heard for the first time next week thanks to AI technology and an old demo tape. A preview of the new track, Now and Then, just ahead. It's Friday, and we're getting ready to ride into the weekend.
And Metrolinx is reminding customers about some changes to its service. Starting tonight at 10 p.m., GO trains on the Lakeshore West Line will run on an hourly schedule between West Harbor and Oakville stations only. Customers at Oakville, Clarkson, and Union GO stations will be able to access buses. Customers at all other stations will need to find alternative routes or use public transit. Regular service resumes Monday.
And getting around the city could be a little challenging for subway riders tomorrow. There will be no service on Line 1 between St. George and St. Andrew stations. The closure is so crews can perform track work. The TTC says shuttle buses won't operate as construction and traffic congestion on University could cause significant delays. Service on downtown surface routes is being increased instead. Regular service will resume Sunday.
And the TTC is celebrating Halloween with some tricks and treats this weekend, hosting its haunting fundraiser at the decommissioned Lower Bay Station. It sits just below the Bay subway station, and it's only used for training and track transfers. But this weekend, the TTC is teaming up with the United Way for a spooky Halloween event, including a haunted subway train, trick-or-treat trains, giveaway trivia, and surprise celebrity appearances. The event runs Saturday and Sunday. Admission is $5 each. Kids 2 and under are free.
Both sides in the Hollywood actors' strike are back at the bargaining table today. The latest round of negotiations follows what SAG-AFTRA calls a comprehensive counteroffer to the major studios yesterday. Before today's meeting, some members urged the union to continue fighting for improved compensation, royalties, and workplace protections. The strike began in July.
A new song from the Beatles is set to be released next week.
It's the last song that my dad and Paul and George and Ringo will get to make together.
Now and Then was an unreleased demo written by John Lennon in the late 1970s. Paul McCartney said earlier this year that AI technology was used to separate Lennon's vocals from a piano in the original recording. The much clearer vocals allowed McCartney and Ringo Starr to complete the track last year. The song will be released next Thursday.
Prince left a lot of music behind in his vault when he died, and a remastered reissue of his 1991 album will include dozens for fans to enjoy. Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe Edition came out today. It includes 75 tracks, 47 which were previously unreleased, across 7 CDs or 12 records, and over 2 hours of live performance footage. Diamonds and Pearls was Prince's 13th studio album and his first with his backing band, the New Power Generation.
Taylor Swift's reimagined 1989 is out. 1989, Taylor's version was released at midnight. It's Swift's 4th re-recorded album after her former label sold the master recordings to her first 6 albums in 2019. The original 1989 came out back in 2014. The new version also includes 5 previously unreleased songs.
Stars Tonight is brought to you by Lastman's Bad Boy. Who's better? Nobody.
Halloween is just days away. What are your plans? Will you hand out candy or turn off the lights and ignore the kids outside? We have the results of a new survey. How many Canadians get into the spooky spirit after the break?
On the next CP24 Breakfast.
Comedian Lily Singh will join us to talk about going viral, her rise to fame, and her new hit show.
That's on the next CP24 Breakfast, up first at 5:30.
This was completely preventable. He just didn't need to drive like that.
Updating our top stories, a man has been sentenced to 9 months after a 2022 crash on the Gardiner. His car hit a taxi and 2 people were injured. Jersey Bogats is also prohibited from driving for 5 years.
We want to be very clear. We will not tolerate any intimidation, any harassment, or any hate-motivated behavior aimed at specific communities in our city.
Police in the GTA are preparing for demonstrations this weekend, both pro-Israeli and pro-Palestinian. Emotions are running high because of the war between Israel and Hamas.
I'm still in shock. I still don't believe the news, but I'm deeply saddened.
Family, customers, and staff are remembering a popular Toronto restaurateur. Merrick Owen Aries was fatally shot in Jamaica. He came to Canada more than 20 years ago and had many plans for the future. Remember to keep up to date day and night through our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca, and you can download the CTV News app.
The benchmark Canadian stock index has been on a losing streak lately, lagging behind U.S. markets so far this year. BNN Bloomberg Jacqueline Hansen has tonight's business report.
The TSX fell again today. That makes it an 8-day losing streak. The last time it has declined for that many days in a row was more than 7 years ago. A slump this month has dragged the TSX into negative territory for the year as a whole. In 2023 so far, it's down more than 3%. Interest rate sensitive sectors have contributed to the weakness. The communication services, utilities, and real estate sectors have been the biggest drags. U.S. markets, the broad S&P 500 and the tech-heavy NASDAQ are far outpacing the TSX this year, up 7% and 20% respectively in 2023. Let's take a look at some of the closing market numbers for today. The Canadian dollar declined about 1/5 cent to about 72 cents U.S. West Texas Intermediate oil gained more than $2 to roughly $85.50 U.S. a barrel. And Western Canadian Select fell more than $5 to $66 U.S. a barrel. As for stock markets, the TSX declined 137 points to end the day at 18,737.39. That is the latest in business. I'm Jacqueline Hansen of BNN Bloomberg.
Well, here's a story that might raise the blood sugar level a tad. A new survey shows Canadians are roughly split down the middle when it comes to handing out Halloween candy this year.
Respondents of the Leger survey show that 48% of people plan to hand out candy, while 46% are shutting off their lights this holiday. With just a few days left, 6% remain undecided. This comes as people plan to dish out the same amount of Halloween festivities this year. 71% plan to spend the same as last year. 15% are cutting back, and 11% plan to spend more.
From the world of sports, the Toronto Maple Leafs were in action last night, looking to make it 3 wins in a row as they took on the Dallas Stars.
Nylander pivots back, the backhand pass, and they score! Morgan Riley has struck again.
Morgan Riley got the first goal of the night. Dallas tied it up in the second, but the Buds scored 3 more to win the game 4-1. The Leafs have the night off before taking on the Predators Saturday.
Meanwhile, forward Fraser Minton's been returned to his junior club, the Kamloops Blazers. The 2022 draft pick made the Leafs out of training camp and had 4 points in 6 preseason games, but he was held pointless in 4 regular season games. The 19-year-old was a healthy scratch for Toronto's last 3 games.
And the Raptors hope to notch another win tonight as they take on the Bulls. Toronto opened the 2023-24 campaign with a 97-94 victory over Minnesota on Wednesday. Tonight's game in Chicago gets underway at 8.
It's the ultimate Lego builder's dream, a massive pumpkin made of over 100,000 bricks, just in time for Halloween. We check out the record-breaking pumpkin patch in the city where Lego was invented, just ahead.
Tonight, a morbid trend, obituary piracy.
I couldn't believe that anybody would do anything like that.
The sinister scam compounding the grief for Canadian families as fraudsters try to profit off death. Later on CTV National News.
Hey,
Toronto, I'm Nicole Cervinas.
And I'm Teddy Wilson, and welcome to Things to Know TO.
Each week, we shine a spotlight on a wide variety of local businesses, services, events, and initiatives from across the GTA.
And if you or your company would like to be featured, you can contact our team by email at thingstoknowto@bellmedia.ca.
And don't forget, join us on Saturday mornings on CP24, CTV, and CTV2.
And hey, why not follow us on social at Things to Know TO.
Pumpkins are popping up everywhere right now with Halloween just around the corner.
But chances are you've never seen one quite like this. It's the world's largest Lego pumpkin. The big jack-o'-lantern is part of a Halloween display at Legoland in Denmark. The record-breaking pumpkin took 3 weeks to build using 100,000 bricks. It's 1.5 meters high and 2.5 meters wide. As an added attraction, visitors can also build their own pumpkins to be displayed until November 5th. Cool.
And Lindsay's been at another Halloween-themed locale in our very own city. How's it going over there, Lindsay?
It's going great, Michelle and Nathan. This has been so much fun here at Night of Lights. Did you know that there are more than 2 million lights in this immersive walkthrough? And you can really just get a little sneak peek of it there. It looks kind of spooky. Let's take one more look at your forecast as we make our way into tomorrow morning. Just be mindful of the fact that there could be a few showers. And again, the temperature is expected to fall as the day goes on. The afternoon, not bad. Mix of sun and cloud expected. About 14 degrees is as warm as it's going to get, but you'll notice a cool down from there. Here's one more look at the 7-day forecast, including your Halloween weekend. I hope everyone has a great one. And then, of course, Halloween right after that on Tuesday. And a reminder, tonight's Lotto Max jackpot is an estimated $50 million plus 2 Max Millions. It's been a fun night from Night of Lights and Pumpkinville. Nathan and Michelle, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. And be sure to join Heather Butts tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Natalie Johnson with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching and have a great weekend.
Good night.